Hey, what's going on? This is American Ronin, Writing Warrior. This is 6 tips for writing authentic characters. I'm Aaron Whipple, author of The Coming Conspiracy, which is a military espionage conspiracy sci-fi novel with some LGBT characters and magic involved. It's slated to release on December 31st, 2022, and it's available for pre-order on Amazon already. Tip number one I got for you is use specific jargon language terms that your characters, based on where they come from, how you develop them, would actually use in real conversation. Make the shit sound original. You know, for instance, if you have a military character, oh hey, I write military fiction. Go figure. A lot of the military speak is in acronyms. One you guys have heard me used before is BAMCIS, BAMCIS. That is, in the Marine Corps at least, the 6 troop leading steps. But we also, say it as an expression, as an acknowledgement in typical military conversation. It's been used not dissimilar to the military grunt of "oorah." Now, if you have 2 or more characters that are in conversation that are in the military, for instance, speaking from actual experience, they're going to use acronyms as a part of the language 90% of the time because they're still prevalent in that field. And each field has their own different experience terms, type of language. But also, you got to remember to use plain language. How is a normal person going to speak? How would you actually speak? And more specifically, how is your character going to speak? Make sure that you develop with your character profile what their voice is. How would they sound? How do they speak? All that kind of stuff. Tip number 2, plan out your characters. I've got a history with writing different things here and there throughout my life of being apparently what they call a pantser. I got a moth flying around here. Writing like a pantser, by the seat of my pants, not really planning anything out. And obviously I'm not published now, so draw your own conclusions. I have. That being said, you want to make sure you're making your characters 3-dimensional. Make your characters 3-dimensional. Yes, you're developing, them in your own mind. Okay, so you got a bunch of different voices, a bunch of different characters that you're putting together. But for each specific character, plan them out. Actually build the character representing how an actual person would be. That includes, how do they sound? What do they talk like? Like I mentioned in the previous number 1. How does that person sound? Let the character that you're developing tell you who they are, how they sound, where they come from. Yes, it's all up in here, but writers were weird like that. Make them sound and feel in your writing like a real person. Make them emulate how an actual real life person would be. Like I said, how do they sound? What do they look like? How do they act? You want to build all that in planning your characters and the character profile. So, if your character is an asshole or a villain, project them as an asshole or a villain. Heroes, villains, main characters, supporting characters, include flaws, weaknesses, strengths, the reason that they're an asshole or a villain. Give the reader the reason to hate them if that's the direction that you want your, villain to be. You want to give your readers a reason to want to find out what happens next with your MC. Even a hero is going to have flaws. A villain's going to have flaws. A villain's going to have a reason why they're a villain or an asshole. Same with your MC, same with your hero. they're going to have a reason why it is that they do what they do, why they believe what they believe. Project that. Inspiration from the people that you know. You know, create individual names. Don't use a real person's name if you're actually, getting inspiration and ideas from somebody that you actually know. We all know the quiet, nice guy or girl. We all know the arrogant asshole. We all have a slutty friend. Each character has their own persona. Let it come out. Let it shine through in your writing. As part of building the character. Put all that together. Imagine it here and then convey it out in your writing so that it's captivating for your audience. Tip number 4. Learn from other books, movies, screenwriting, so that kind of thing. Character development is huge to authenticity. Take notes from other authors, screenwriters. If you're, watching a movie or a TV series, take note of how, the different characters act, how they're portrayed, how they're put together, what their mannerisms are, what their persona is, how they interact with other people, how they interact with themselves. Learn how that author or writer describes the characters and make them as real as possible. And then use that in your own writing. Tip number 5, people watch. Now, I don't mean be fucking creepy. When you do go outside, there's some authors, a lot of writers that would rather be in their office, their writing space and whatnot, and just be writing. Totally get it. But when you do go outside, observe people in real time, in real life, how they actually act with one another. Take a survey of, I don't mean like literal survey asking people questions. I mean survey in your mind how this person is, how that person is. Draw some inspiration from it. Think about it to yourself. Write it down. How would you describe, a person's walk, their gait, their posture, how they interact with, something in the world around them. They're walking down train tracks, describe, they're lumbering along the train tracks, paying no attention to the sign that clearly says it's illegal to walk along train tracks. Things like that. And my final tip, listen to your characters. I mentioned this briefly before in a couple other tips. Your characters aren't going to act exactly like you. So writers are definitely a bit crazy, but listen either way. Listen to the characters, what they're telling you about themselves. I know it sounds a little multiple personalities, but think about how these characters are developed. One instance I like to think of is, the realism of the characters that M. Night Shyamalan created for Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. I mean, Split alone, he had 19 different characters inside of one person, and each one, yes, interacted inside the vessel of Scott McAvoy's character, but they were all individual. It was amazingly well done. That's what I mean by listen to your characters. They're gonna have their different things, their different quirks. Put that down. All right, guys, I appreciate you coming by and checking out my 6 tips for writing authentic characters. If it is helpful to you in writing your own authentic, realistic characters, please do like and subscribe. Push that thumbs up button. It definitely does help me with the YouTube algorithm. Every like and subscribe, helps get the military writing perspective out there. It's military writers, we experience a lot of, violence, hijinks, for lack of a better term, skullfuckery. It's crazy. Military is full of honey badgers. We're own unique personalities, experiences, things that we deal with, and it'd be awesome to get more of that out there and encourage other writers coming from the military or while they're still in the military to experience that. Appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video.